happy December. We want to talk about November. We read 21 books.
Yes, I read 12 and Kristen read 9, and we are going to tell you what we thought of them and whether or not we think you should read them.
All right, start us off, Maddie.
Okay, in the Fable Book Club, The Sisterhood, we read The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. I do not think this book is for everyone, but it was definitely for me. I really enjoy Donna Tartt's writing. It's very zoomed in. It makes her books really unpredictable for me because she's telling you everything that your character experiences in a given experience or situation, so it's not all in plot service. I think that can make it hard for people. I think sometimes it's like, well, it's a little slow. What does this have to do with the meta plot? But it's like, it feels like real life to me. It's so immersive. And I actually think this had an extremely strong and dramatic conclusion. And I loved the themes and messages at the end. So I had a great time with The Goldfinch.
And what did you rate it?
I rated it 4.5.
I had a nostalgia read in November, reading The Sorcerer's Stone, first book in the Harry Potter series. I have not read these since I was a teenager, and it was almost better as an adult because I had all the feelings of like how this book has shaped the way I read. It was like going back to the beginning in a way, and I highly recommend a reread if you loved these as a child. Sometimes it's hard for us to go back and read books that we've already read because our TBRs are so long, but I encourage you in 2025, pick up some of your favorites from the past.
I feel like Sorcerer's Stone is like the OG small world building book. Like, it builds the world of Harry Potter. Diagon Alley, Hogwarts.
And it's like low-key cozy.
Right. I mean, I feel like Hogwarts is a comfort. Before everything goes to shit, it's quite a comfortable world.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Our in real life book club read Tuesdays with Morrie at the beginning of the month. This is by Mitch Albom, and I had a great time with this. It's not a light read, but I kind of knew that going in. It's very emotional. This just follows a man who is dying of ALS, and one of his former students, who is now a journalist, comes to be with him as he's dying and help him sort of share what he's learned in his time on Earth and what he's really being taught by death itself. And so it's very moving, very impactful. I think it packs just as strong a punch now as it did 25 years ago when it was written. And I was sobbing at the end. So I highly recommend Tuesdays with Morrie.
What'd you rate it?
5 stars.
Okay, I actually read this book in November as well, and I forgot to put it in my Goodreads.
Oh, her number is 10, not 9. 10,
so I
10.
read 10. Let me tell you what I thought of Tuesdays with Morrie. I thought it was very thought-provoking. I couldn't really read it very quickly because I needed to think and digest. There were some journal prompts prompted from this book, which makes a really good book for me. If it makes me think about myself and my life and trying to improve it because I'm learning the lessons of a man who is dying of ALS, I feel like that's a good fucking book. I did rate it 4 stars instead of 5 because I read Man's Search for Meaning at the beginning of this year. And as far as memoirs go, that one impacted me just slightly more. So I'm going based off of a 5-star that I've already read. But to have read both of these books in 1 year, I want to incorporate more of that in my reading life. It's just so powerful to step outside and step within the life of someone else who has a really good message and has a lot more wisdom than me.
Okay, our very first month with our Patreon, we did a book and screen adaptation combo book club, which we will be doing every month. And we started with The Last Kingdom by Bernard Cornwell. I loved this. But I think that my experience was significantly enhanced because I was reading and watching and discussing with our Patreon. I don't know if I just picked up this book cold, if it would have been like a clean 5 stars for me. I definitely had some issues with the writing style at times. I really had to get into it. But by the end, I think I actually preferred the book to the screen adaptation. And I love The Last Kingdom. Like, so far, the show is rocking my world. I love it. So I really enjoyed this. I think it's great historic fiction. It read to me like a fantasy, even though there was no magic system, just because it has all of the same things I love in a fantasy world. I really love medieval fantasy. I love political fantasy. And this is medieval political, and it's so good. I absolutely loved it.
So I agree with Maddie wholeheartedly that what made The Last Kingdom book, our Page to Screen Patreon book club, made it so good was doing both together. So here is my thing, guys. If we're readers, and you're watching this and you're a reader, don't we want to get the best experience out of reading, right? I think the way that we did this slowly, 3 chapters a week, then watched an episode, then posted on our Patreon, and Maddie and I could just analyze and process what was different, what was the same, which way did we like better if they deviated from each other. That is the kind of reading I want in my life. So if you're having a hard time finding 5-star books, consider maybe changing up the experience. Can you buddy read with a friend and you guys can get together or chat on Marco Polo about what you liked? So much of reading lately has been collaborative, which is making it so much more delicious. So I will look back on November 2024 so fondly because doing this with Maddie, with our Patreon, MF family, it made the month for me.
Yes, and we love you, motherfucking family, and also anyone who wants to join, it's open. There will be a link in our description. And this book, this copy, we annotated. You can show them, Kristen, and we will be sending out our annotated copy to one of the members of our family for them to keep, and we will be doing that next month as well. We are starting All the Light We Cannot See this week, and we are so excited. I have had Together We Will Go by J. Michael Straczynski on my TBR since the summer. This is a lit fic, so it's kind of out of my normal wheelhouse, but as soon as I heard that it was The Breakfast Club meets Silver Linings Playbook, I was sold. And I listened to this on audio. It has a full cast that do every character's narration.
Nice.
And wow. It was such an entertaining, funny read. It delivered exactly what it said. The end did surprise me, although I did call the twist. I think I rated this about 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. It's very solid. Just definitely go into it with your eyes wide open. This is about suicidal people who decide to leave Earth together. I'm very grateful to everyone who recommended this to me when I was looking for lit fic recs because I had no idea where to start, and everyone was like, Maddie, you will love this book. I feel like you all know my taste quite well. This was great. Thank you.
I think I've unlocked something, guys. I have unlocked something. Last month, I read Legends and Lattes, and this month, I read the prequel, which is both by Travis Baldree, and it's called Bookshops and Bone Dust. I buddy read this with some of our Patreon family who's also going to Italy with us on our next bookish trip. Shout out to Taylor and Morgan. I had such a good time. I feel like it is a requirement to have a warm beverage and a warm blanket to read cozy fantasy. Ambiance, crackling fire on YouTube, optional but highly recommend. I just feel like when something is made better, but the stakes are low, the cozy vibes are high, this is what I need right now. I need it. So now I have all of these cozy fantasy recs ready for me. I just don't have to think hard, but I'm in a great mood. It feels like watching old nostalgic films like Anne of Green Gables when you were younger because it's fun and it's a little cheeky, but mostly it's just like the atmosphere is impeccable.
So you liked the prequel more?
I did because it's about a bookshop that's seen better days and it's like revitalized. Cutest thing ever. And the other book is about a coffee shop that is like invented in a fantasy world. It's like, imagine if there was a first coffee shop of all time. I love both. I want to talk to Travis so bad. I want to read anything that he's written. It's like not life-changing, but for what it is life-changing.
Well, okay, maybe I'll try one. Well, I finally read The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde, and I loved it. I just think this is the kind of thing that's written for me. It is a classic, so go in expecting a classic. Like, the pacing is going to be like a classic. The language is going to be like a classic. But I think what I love most about The Picture of Dorian Gray is how ambiguous the message was and how, like, contradictory the message was. It just felt very complicated and true. This is a cautionary tale about vanity, and it's told through the lens of art and how we play with art and interact with art and what the artist's intent is when they create it. And I think there is a message about hedonism in there. And I just found myself staring at the wall at the end like, okay, is this about like the corruptive power of art? Is this about the saving power of art? Is it both? I think everything that we put out into the world as creators can be pure or it can be corruptive, and it's kind of both, and it's kind of as messy as we as people are. And I just think this book illustrated that beautifully. It also had a really wacky fantasy element thrown in, which as a fantasy girly I appreciated. So I loved this.
What did you rate it?
Rated it 5 stars.
Wow. I read that last month and did not enjoy.
I
The
know.
message completely left me. It
You were
shot past me.
You were like 2 stars, did not enjoy.
So for anybody who's not into classics, it's okay. You can still hang out on our channel because one of us will appreciate them and one of us will say, no bueno. As anybody on our Patreon family knows, I was in a little bit of a reading slump this last month. And
Okay,
I was
Glenda.
And I was so nervous to tell you guys because obviously I'm a big reader. I was still reading. I just wasn't really enjoying reading. And so I had some people send me some love and be like, Kristen, why don't you just read what you actually want to read right now? And this is what I wanted to read right now. Is this the cutest cover? No, this cover is repulsive to me. But what is inside is a present for you. Tessa Bailey makes this main male character one of my favorite ever written in a rom-com because she wrote this book after watching Ted Lasso, and she wanted to make a man inspired by him. And yes, the spice is good, and yes, the story is original. Okay. So our main character designs windows for like the holidays to sell product, but she's fresh out of prison, so she's kind of like the bad girl, and he's the good guy, and I had so much fun. This was a great experience.
So glad you found it. It is not too late to pick that up for the holiday season.
No, do it.
So we picked up a classic whodunit mystery, Agatha Christie's, and Then There Were None. Queen. I have nothing else to say about her except that she is brilliant. I mean, she wrote this 80 years ago, and it slaps. I mean, it slaps hard. I binged it in a day because I could not turn pages fast enough and could not predict the mystery. I was whiteboarding. I was writing down. I was like, I'm gonna solve this. Could not solve it. I was shocked and appalled and delighted in the best way at the end, and I loved it.
I also loved it. The only thing that was kind of weird to me in it is when I started it on audio, there were a lot of characters thrown in right at the beginning. So I think I slowed down the audio. I literally Googled the names of every single character so that I could immediately...
Did you get spoiled?
No.
Oh, okay.
I did not get spoiled. But for me, I knew that this book was not going to be exciting or good, or the twist wouldn't twist if I didn't understand. And most whodunits like this I've seen in movie form. So even if I'm not catching the names, I am able to catch the faces and kind of associate who's who. So I created a visual picture in my brain because this is how my brain works. And as soon as I got locked in and I knew who our characters were on the island, I was set. It was an afternoon, had my puzzle going, went for my walk, finished it. The girl isn't slumping anymore. Let me tell you, she is not slumping anymore.
Yeah. This is a slump buster. We have to talk about Glorious Exploits by Ferdia Lennon. Wow. This is a debut author. He is Irish. I picked this up in Ireland, and it's a historic fiction about Athens and Syracuse, in the ancient world, okay? Now, I picked this up on audio. And the author himself narrates it in an Irish accent because he's Irish. Ooh. And so at first, it was very disjointed for me. At first, I was like, I cannot picture the ancient world because I'm actually looking at, in my imagination, this is Peaky Blinders. Oh. Because of the accent. And because of the writing style. He cursed, the characters curse, the Irish, they say shite, and their mannerisms and their greetings are very Irish. And so once I got past that stylistically, I actually started to really appreciate it. And I love that it's just basically if your big brother or uncle, your Irish big brother or uncle was telling you the story of this ancient world and these ancient characters. And wow, it was such a good conclusion. It just went like this. I was like, okay, am I into this? I'm really into this. Oh my God, this is amazing.
Good.
It just got so much better and better and better the more I read and the more I loved it. It's just a story of human resilience.
Okay.
And compassion and Jesus. It was funny. It was stylistically interesting. I've never read anything like it, and it was just, in the end, really lovely.
I can't believe you bought a book that's bright yellow.
I know. It's not my favorite cover. I just have to be honest about that. But if you just want something interesting and different, it's a quick read. I ended up really enjoying it on audio. Like I said, the author narrates it, but it is jarring. It's just a jarring writing style, but I ended up really loving it. Yay.
Maddie and I have been hanging out in the Gale Song trilogy by Shauna Lawless. Both of us read book 2, The Words of Kings and Prophets. Maddie was a speedy mindster and also got into book 3, so no spoilers here.
Okay.
But both of our thoughts on book 2. I liked book 2 more than book 1, and I loved book 1. There's a third new introduced POV in this book. There are new things being uncovered that just make me feel very excited. Fola is all of our aunties, okay? I love her vibe, being a healer. The difference of our 2 main female characters is crazy. Do you know who is savage? Gormla. But you know who else is savage? Thomas.
Yes.
I'm just like, how can we have characters that I love? I mean, we have this like subplot romance in here that just got really yummy. You know, I'm like always grabbing for those crumbs. But I do think it's actually the new things, without any spoilers, the new things that are uncovered in this book, other characters being found out to have some magical powers. It's got me excited about finishing this trilogy.
Yes, I basically had to read these back to back, and they kind of all flow together as one book in my mind. And I had taken a break since book 1, and I don't recommend doing that. Like, I think you should just binge this series. It's so good. It hangs together so well. It's such a tight narrative, full circle. I actually don't think this is a popular opinion, but this is my favorite of the 3. I do think Words of Kings and Prophets is very good, but The Land of the Living and the Dead, this ending was just explosive, and Shauna Lawless has been contracted for basically the second era of this series. So this is a completed trilogy, but just don't expect all the pieces to be wrapped up at the end of book 3 because she's extending this series, which we're so excited about for 4, 5, and 6. There are also novellas in this world. So I'm very happy to not be done with the Gale Song because I love this world and I love these characters, but this was like a very explosive book 3. Lots of reveals, lots of action, lots of intensity, and I was like, okay, where's she going with this? So I'm very excited. I love The Land of the Living and the Dead.
We had the opportunity to interview Shauna Lawless on our podcast, so it is spoiler free. If you are thinking about reading these books or have read them and enjoy them, don't miss out on our podcast episode. It's literally here on YouTube as well. But Shauna's brilliant.
The best. She has done so much research for this series. It's like her heritage, her grandmother's stories. She's woven in Irish folklore and real Irish history. It's just fascinating. I'm like always Googling every time I finish a book, like what if this was historically accurate? And so much of it is. So it's so fun. It's a perfect blend of fantasy and historic fiction.
And they're the most gorgeous covers of all time.
Stunning.
Sometimes books just come to you at the right time, and Existential Kink by Carolyn Elliott came to me at the most perfect time. I have never tabbed and underlined so much in a book in my entire life. I don't even know if I can recommend this to other people because I feel like it will be revealing some intimate things about myself to say that I liked this book, but essentially, this book is about shadow work. So it's the things in your subconscious that you aren't really aware of or shy away from looking at, and bringing those to the surface and asking yourself questions and processing through what you want to hold on to and what you want to let go of. That's the simplest way to put it. But to be honest, this is one of those books that I pull out every single day because it's prompting all of my journal entries these days. That, for me, is a life-changing book. So we have actually contacted Carolyn, and she is going to be on our podcast in the beginning of 2025, and I cannot wait to pick her brain. Maddie is also going to pick up this book, and I encourage any of you guys who are interested in reading books that aren't just what we normally talk about on here. You want to kind of branch out a little bit.
Little personal development.
Little personal growth. This is a 5-star, and she's not that thick, but she took me 2 months because it's that damn good.
Okay, Christopher Ruocchio, you got me. It only took 3, maybe 4 books, but you got me, and I am here for Sun Eater. Listen, Kingdoms of Death, book 4 in the Sun Eater series. We here now. We got there. I cannot say a lot without spoiling the series, but let's just say this is the book where Hadrian's mission became personal for me. And I have been waiting for that as a reader. Like, I get this is a science fiction, so it's humanity in the far future. They're at war with an alien race. And so obviously we're on the side of the humans. Got it. But after 3 long books, especially books where we're like exploring the nuance of the alien race, I'm like not sure I want the humans to win. I'm not sure the humans are that great.
They turned you.
But this book clinched it, solidified it. I am now like, it's not just like humans versus aliens. To me, it's like Hadrian has a cause now.
Is Hadrian an alien or a human?
Hadrian is the human, main character of the story.
Okay.
And in this book, it's personal now. It's personal. The aliens have got to be eradicated.
Oh.
That's how I feel. That's how I feel. And that, as a reader, is what I need. Like, I need to have stakes in the game. Yeah. I need to fucking care. And boy, do I care now. I also just love a book where the main character gets beat down.
What?
And this happens here. Kristen, come on. Think of every great... Think about Lord of the Rings. Think about Star Wars. Like, you need Frodo and Sam to be, like, on the brink of death. They need to be beat down so that you, like, care when they win.
Well, I don't
Same with
like
Star
it.
Wars. No, I mean, you don't like it. You
I
hate it, but it makes you emotionally invested. And
Ah.
that's what happened in this book. I mean, Hadrian, wow. The abuse this man suffers, and I ate it up like candy. It was great. I'm here for Kingdoms of Death. I'm here for Sun Eater. Let's go.
So if you like alien abuse, please pick up. The Bound and the Broken by Ryan Cahill is not yet complete, but I completed his written works this month with The Ice and Of War and Ruin. Isn't it adorable, the difference in their size? So this is more of like a novella side quest, which I will say was so much fun because it follows some of my favorite characters from The Bound and the Broken, and I was kind of wanting more of that from the main books. So the fact that we got a whole book on the ice and going to retrieve a dragon egg was really fun. And Of War and Ruin is to date the longest audiobook I've ever listened to, and I have to say, I think I cheated myself out of a 5-star series by taking a break to read other epic series at the same time. So over the last 3 months that I've been reading The Bound and the Broken, I've also read 4 other series, and it has not been ideal. I think I just get excited about the next thing. I know this is all of you guys adding to your TBRs as you watch these videos. And I just want to encourage you to live in what series you are in and know that what Maddie says, good books are good forever. I still think that this series is a 4-star. Who knows? Maybe I will reread when the new books come out so that I can experience the 5-star experience. I honestly have no notes. I think Ryan created an epic tale with incredible characters. I do care about them. They do get beat down, so Maddie probably loved those parts. But truthfully, I can't wait to find out what happens. And don't take breaks in series. Don't take breaks. Just power through, bitches. Power through.
I'm telling you, series binging is the way to go.
Yeah.
All right, my final books of the month were the first 2 books in the Wilde Chronicles by Robin Hobb. That's Dragon Keeper and Dragon Haven, and I'm currently in City of Dragons right now. I love the Realm of the Elderlings so much, and I've heard mixed things about this 4th series, the Wilde Chronicles. It is 4 books, and all the rest of them are 3, but I'm having a great time. I think for me, I love the characters of Realm of the Elderlings, and I love the themes in Realm of the Elderlings, but I think what kind of has me hooked is the mystery surrounding the history of this world, the Elderling lore, the dragon lore, and because the Elderlings and the dragons are extinct when you start the series in Farseer, it's like all along there have been all of these hints. Like, what was this ancient culture and how did they relate with dragons? And we still don't know. I'm like, I don't know, 11, 12, 13 books in now, and I still don't know. But in this series, the Wilde Chronicles, you're like finally getting some of those answers. And it is so tantalizing. It's so good. It just like, nom, nom, nom. Love it. So I feel like a little archaeologist exploring this fantasy world, and I just have to know. Like, I have to know who this ancient culture was. I have to know what they did and what happened. So I think we're almost there. And the interpersonal stuff is great as always. The villains you love to hate, the characters you love to love, the characters that get beat down. It's like, this woman can do no wrong, and you're probably sick of hearing me yap about her, but Realm of the Elderlings, man, amazing, amazing series.
I would love for you to interview Robin Hobb.
Oh, the opportunity. I would cease to exist. I would perish. I would pass away.
Thank you for hanging out with us for our November wrap-up. Please find us on Patreon if you want to do some of these buddy reads with us. We're having the best time over there with our motherfucking family.
Yep, and please let us know what you read this month. 5-star books, what you're looking forward to reading in December. Yeah, what you thought of any of these books if you've read them, and we can't wait to read your comments. We get tons of recommendations from you guys for our TBR, so if you know of books like these that you think we would enjoy, definitely let us know. Thanks for watching, guys.
Bye!
Bye!